coldest place on Earth.
The Antarctic Ocean is one of the most merciless places on Earth, where survival itself becomes a battle.
Here, waves rise like skyscrapers, winds scream like sirens, and the ocean shows no mercy. What followed would later be remembered. Shackleton sought not fame or fortune, but to measure the limits of human endurance.
A dream larger than fear.
His ambition was unprecedented, to cross the entire Antarctic continent on foot. No human had ever attempted it.
For Shackleton, survival itself was the true experiment of mankind. Endurance would be the answer.
He named his ship Endurance, because only endurance could conquer the unknown. Turning back was not weakness, it was survival. But the dream remained alive.
In 1907, he tried again, pushing closer than any man before him. Still, destiny denied him.
Each defeat sharpened his resolve instead of breaking it. He would return stronger. By 1914.
To find the right men, Shackleton released an advertisement unlike any before. It would change history.
Against all expectations, hundreds stepped forward to face the unknown. Courage answered the call.
Shackleton chose not the strongest bodies, but the strongest minds.
Unity mattered more than skill.
From thousands, 27 were chosen to face the end of the world. The expedition had begun.
Many believed the expedition would never leave the harbor. The dream hung by a thread.
Shackleton questioned whether exploration had a place during war. The decision weighed heavily. Britain granted permission, allowing the expedition to proceed. The path was cleared.
With approval secured, the expedition prepared to face destiny. There was no turning back. The mission demanded a ship built to survive the crushing power of polar ice. Ordinary vessels would not survive.
Its hull was carved from thick American oak, chosen for unmatched strength.
Its curved design allowed ice to lift the ship upward rather than crush it. A masterpiece of polar engineering.
Endurance combined sails with a steam engine, power and tradition united, prepared for the unknown.
He named the ship Endurance, guided by a belief that perseverance conquers all. The name would define history.
On the morning of August 8th, 1914, the Endurance prepared to sail. A journey into the unknown had begun.
Shackleton stood calm, carrying the weight of every life aboard. Leadership had already begun.
With ropes cast off, the Endurance slowly pulled away from land. There was no return path now. The Endurance sailed forward, unaware that history was waiting in the ice. The greatest survival story had begun.
For months, the Endurance sailed across the Atlantic, far from the frozen danger ahead. The calm before the storm.
The expedition reached Argentina, their last major contact with civilization. Beyond this point, there would be no rescue. Here, the crew loaded their final supplies for a journey into isolation.
Every crate mattered.
From Argentina, the ship turned south, toward colder waters and harsher fate. South Georgia Island marked the final threshold before Antarctica. Beyond this lay only ice.
As Endurance entered the Weddell Sea, the ocean began to change. The warning signs were everywhere.
Day by day, the ice grew thicker and movement became slower. Each mile forward came at a cost. The frozen sea began to move, not freely, but with crushing force. Nature was tightening its grip. Eventually, the Endurance could move no farther. They were frozen in place. On January 18th, 1915, the Endurance became trapped. Refusing to surrender, the crew attempted to carve a path through solid ice. Every strike drained their strength.
The cold never rested.
Hours turned into days, and exhaustion became constant.
After days of labor, the ship had moved only a few hundred meters. The effort felt meaningless.
Shackleton saw the truth forming before his eyes. Human strength had limits.
The decision was made to stop fighting nature and drift with it. Their fate was no longer in their hands.
The ship became a winter station, locked in darkness and silence.
Time itself seemed frozen. Shackleton enforced routine to protect minds as much as bodies.
Order prevented despair.
Months passed without sunlight, testing the mind more than the body.
Hope became fragile.
Games, conversation, and laughter became tools of survival.
Human connection endured.
They believed the ice would eventually release them. But danger was growing beneath their feet. As spring approached, the frozen sea began to awaken. The pressure was building.
At night, terrifying sounds echoed through the hull.
Something was terribly wrong.
Without warning, the ship lurched violently to one side. The nightmare had begun.
The rudder shattered, robbing the ship of control.
Escape was slipping away.
Cracks opened in the hull as the ice crushed relentlessly. The ship was dying.
As pressure intensified, the danger became undeniable.
Time was running out.
On October 27th, 1915, Shackleton gave the order to abandon ship. The mission was over.
They stepped onto the ice, leaving their home behind. The ice claimed the ship piece by piece. Their sanctuary was gone. With the Endurance lost, survival became their only mission. Now, they were alone. With no ship, the men built a camp upon drifting ice.
Their ground was never still.
At any moment, the ice could split and swallow them whole.
Sleep came with fear.
The ocean currents carried them slowly northward. They drifted with no control. Supplies dwindled, and hunger became constant. Every meal was a calculation.
Hunger slowly drained their strength and spirit. Survival became urgent.
Hunger slowly drained their strength and spirit. Survival became urgent.
To stay alive, they were forced to hunt seals and penguins.
There was no choice.
Starvation weakened muscles and clouded judgment.
Yet even in hunger, Shackleton refused to let hope die. They would survive together.
The ice that had carried them for months finally began to collapse. They could not stay any longer. With no time left, Shackleton ordered the lifeboats launched. This was their last chance.
The ocean welcomed them with freezing waves and chaos. Every second was a fight for life.
After days at sea, land finally appeared through the mist. Hope returned. After 16 months, they touched solid ground once again. They were alive. They built shelter from overturned lifeboats and hope. It was barely enough.
Elephant Island offered land, but no salvation. It was completely uninhabited.
Days passed. No ships came. Reality settled in.
Shackleton knew that no rescue would come to them. They had to save themselves.
Only one option remained: an impossible journey across open ocean. Failure meant death for all.
On April 24th, 1916, Shackleton sailed into the unknown.
Behind them, 22 lives waited. They entered the most violent ocean on Earth. The sea tried to kill them daily.
16 days we have endured the cold, the hunger, and the madness. Sleep is impossible now.
Against all odds, South Georgia Island rose from the mist. They had survived the impossible.
They had reached South Georgia, but on the wrong side. Civilization lay beyond the mountains.
For 36 hours, they climbed without rest. The body had nothing left.
For the first time in 16 months, they heard human sound. They had reached help.
On August 30th, 1916, smoke appeared on the horizon! Rescue had arrived.
Against all odds, every single man survived. Not one life was lost.
More than a century later, endurance still rests beneath the ice, unchanged.